is it, Whiskey? What is it? Are you hearing them screams in there? Oh no. What is this weird place? Good job, Whiskey. You found them. Anybody follow you? Sure? Sure? Listen. They're everywhere. They're selling people. They're eating people. They're everywhere. How's it going? Hopefully you're staying warm. Hopefully you're staying safe. On one piece and out of their way, off of their radar. Talk about a few things. Give a shout out. A friend of mine was called me. When I'm doing these videos, I can't hear the phone ringing or whatever, so no offense. But I seen it. I flipped through and I shut it off for a minute to get another whatever. Anyways, I seen I had a missed call, called him back. So we talked about an issue that I'm gonna touch a little bit on now, but I was already going to. So if you're watching this has nothing to do with that. But you raised some interesting questions, points that I would like to dedicate a separate video to. So, but anyways, I might touch a little bit on that, but this ain't in response to that. So what do you think of the latest news? They are twisting us all up, aren't they? The whole world is fake, and we've talked about that before. Everything around us is fake. We don't know what's real, what's not, what to believe, right? Who's the friend and who's the enemy? This is all the confusion they brought to all of us. And where do we go from here? And how do we even correct course? But so we want to talk about some things here a minute. One, as I said before, no matter what you think, the most important issue is the issue at hand that they are right in front of us, trying to sweep under the rug, turn the other way and ignore, right? Because people in high places are doing some wicked things. And because they are people in high places, they're allowed to do it. You are not, right? You will fry for far less, and they will make damn sure of it. But I want to take a moment. You know, really, I don't know. I gotta watch I don't get off track. I got too much different subjects on my mind. But this fake world, right? And everything, we're already seeing it. And I'm seeing other channels start talking about it. Everyone's acknowledging it. Everything is fake around us. Everything now anymore. Everything you're watching almost. The music you're listening to. Everything you're consuming. The food. Everything. The people. Right? The people. You know, especially like such people as, let's consider this fake right. Let me let me not mince words of what I'm feeling here. This useless who is now coming out acting like a dumb broad, right? Just women should be embarrassed of her as a woman. Republicans should be embarrassed of her as a member of their party. But let's face it, Republicans and Democrats both should be embarrassed of their parties. Americans should be embarrassed of her as the Attorney General, right? Let's take a look at a few things here. Okay, let's be clear. It don't matter who appoints her or whatever. She don't work for Trump. It's not Trump's Attorney General, right? Every time stuff changes, it's Biden's Attorney General. It's Trump's Attorney General. Biden's, no, it's not. It's ours, right? We the people. She's our Attorney General. She has sold herself like good whores do to the highest bidder. I don't know, maybe even the lowest bidder, right? Now, some things I say are opinion, right? But I'm sure if somebody wanted to look into it, they could probably prove this, that Bondi, along with some of these other Barbies that Trump has put into this position and that position, are they come from the line of Trump's beauty pageants, where many lewd activities take place, many dark things happen from these old perverts, right? I say it like that because we'll get to a more important point than that. Has she not proven to be useless? Where is the outrage? Okay, so one thing earlier, I was talking with someone, and this is how they get you. I don't want to cut it out, right? But maybe after watching this fiasco, maybe the whole thing is really a hoax. Maybe Trump's right. Maybe the whole thing is a hoax. And I'm not going to say that's impossible and totally discard that theory. Personally, I don't think so. But like I said, maybe I'm going to look more into it and do a more in-depth video about that later, I suppose. Right? But I really don't believe it's a hoax. This is what they're going to try to get you to believe, get you to side with. And there's lots of questions we can ask, but take a look at it. The truth is, they are all involved in it from both sides, all of them. And too many people don't want to see that. The reason is, right, because we can use arguments about, it could be a hoax because they had all this information all this time. Well, actually, both sides did against both sides, so nobody used it. Well, why is that? Because if you take one down, you're going to have to take the other ones down, right? You think someone like Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Trump or any of them is going to go down alone? I don't think so, right? Why is Jeffrey Epstein most likely still alive? Or even if not, what's happened to that? Because nobody's going down alone, Epstein or anyone else. But the thing is, there's speculation Epstein worked for the CIA and even MI6 or whatever. He was a Mossad agent is what he was, right? The people that control our whole government, the star people. Look into it. This is where Epstein comes from, and this is who Trump answers to, and all your presidents answer to. And this ain't to get all about choose a political side at all. I say it's time to quit playing games, and we take them now, right? The thing is, this is what they're doing. They're normalizing it. They're going to brush it off and see, the thing is, nobody knows what to believe anymore, or what to think, what side to take. The thing, but it's you and me, right? The Americans. It's you and me down here. They're everywhere, right? Who's the next victim? Maybe it might even be you, right? When they're feeling a little extra hungry. And it's real sick. And we even got ourselves to blame for accepting the fakeness as it comes along, because these sick people who we find out are in charge of everything and own and control everything are the ones that push society to accept all these different things that we have accepted over the years that are actually bad already, bad enough, but we want to ignore it and act like it ain't that bad until it gets totally out of control like it is now, where you got people going after children, eating flesh, sacrificing to gods, all this stuff, right? And it's taken over. It's real, and it's being thrown right in. And because the thing is, the powers that be, they want you to, they have to tell you. They are, the problem is, they are, because of their rituals they do to get rich and famous, to get powerful, whatever, they do these rituals. And if you notice, they've been doing it through all these events. You got to shut them out. The NFL, the Olympics, all these things, right? They do the rituals through these things to keep gaining more and more power and to spread their disgustingness all over this world, right? That's why I won't watch this shit. I ain't taking part in your seances and rituals. But we want to act like, because we like people, these people have made us like them over the years, we don't want to believe that they're involved in this and that. And Pam Bondi proves it, right? We consider this fake-ass world, that's how we got here, right? The people behind it are still mind-fucking all of us, screwing with our minds daily, still, right? These people think it's a joke. They actually think it's a joke. They're rubbing it in your face. I did not watch any of the halftime NFL anything, right? But I see people come out with stuff since. And I'm going to share a clip here from Brian's channel. Just take a look. They're rubbing it in our faces, rubbing our noses right in it. And they think it's funny. Why? Because they think together they are all rich and powerful, and we ain't going to do a damn thing about it. We're powerless. That's what they think. But the problem is, maybe they're right. It's up to us to make sure they start thinking different. But we're not doing our job. Right? So we, how many of us had, the problem is you got to take a look at the people around you. First, we got to put our own selves in question. I already know there's things I would never take part in, right? And then what about all the people around you? Really? Because this stuff is being normalized and is spreading. And as I said before, they're rubbing your nose in all the stuff they're doing and vaguely letting you know who they are so that they get away with it, and you think that they are all this and that. And sooner or later, you start admiring their lives, right? In one form or another, one of these, maybe not the worst of them, right? And that's how a whole nation starts bowing down to foreign gods, right? And it starts out, all these little things. We call them out, right? I give you an example, right? Let's consider one of the things that was in the news where several of the things I'm telling people to get rid of. TikTok, Snapchat, all this social media shit, right? If you use, every minute you view or post something on TikTok or Snapchat, and most of these other social media platforms, every minute you are using that platform, you are financing these very people who all the sick, disgusting stuff, and we've got to shut them down, pull the financing in every way possible, right? I'm not calling for violence. I want to be clear about that always, right? Unless they step in my realm. Otherwise, keep your distance, but it's not about the violence. It's about shutting it down, right? On our terms. People find that it just is what it is. Your taxes are supporting it, and every time, so we use something like, TikTok or a lot of these, X, right? Elon Musk is just as dirty. The people that own this shit, so we're supporting them. And you consider, let's consider like Snapchat, right? For years, that I've even known women personally that they'll call this stuff out. Oh, this fake, all this stuff. You gotta stay away from social media, and they call all this shit out, the fake people and all this, right? But at the meantime, they're using Snapchat filters on their pictures and AI. That they run it through AI. And you see it all over social media now. Everybody commenting and complimenting their pictures, and it's not even really you. Most of these people don't realize you're naturally beautiful the way God made you. And that's the truth. I had a problem with that with my ex, right? She wouldn't admit it. She tried to use it lightly, right? But she would use some of these filters and then wonder why, half the time I didn't say much about it, right? Because the ones I complimented her was all natural pictures she would send me, right? Or show me, or that she would take. She would take these ones, all these, their self-confidence, whatever it is, they want to look more what their fucked up idea is of what society is teaching us beauty should be, and they got to hide their age and all this shit, right? And that's just one more example how she fucked up anyways, right? He had the person that saw you as his fantasy, not this other nasty shit, right? And you blew that up and whatever, but it was little things like that you don't look at. Well, I find out later just how fake and deceiving she was, right? And you see that all over the place, and I'm sorry, but the women are the worst about it. And Pam Bondi's a fine example, right? Fake ass fucking women. They'll sell themselves for anything. If they'll sell themselves, they will sell you, right? If they will give it out to anyone for no fucking reason, because they want their own sick pleasure, and they'll just freely give it out, they will freely trade you, right? They'll give it out for their benefit. In majority, I don't care. Sorry, let's face the facts. Let's face the truth. No one ever calls this shit out. We're talking about. I see people talking about this stuff coming out in Epstein. Oh, these old sick perverts. No one wants to do something about these old sick perverts. What about the women as well? Because they're always calling out the men. What about the women as well? You think Bill Gates and Melinda Gates didn't know what the hell was going on and look the other way, or even take part in it? You think Hillary Clinton wasn't taking part in it? All of them was. Well, how deep is Pam Bondi involved, right? How young was she? Which one? One of them was a little girl in his beauty pageants and ended up in Trump's cabinet. Several of them. Just look into it. Don't take my word for it. Look into it. But this is what we got, right? And we allow this shit, and we don't want to understand about. We want to pull this feminist nonsense, right? Pam Bondi's a fine example why a woman should not be in that position. Look here, dumb. Your job is to prosecute criminals of the United States. That's your job. Not to Trump. Not to stroke your rich, powerful friends. Not to protect any of them. Oh, your life would be on the line if you outed them? Too fucking bad. That's your job. You chose it. That's just how it is, and we don't want to see that. Oh, well, I don't understand shit. God calls us to do what is right. And his people are suffering. The children are suffering. And that is the last straw. And I keep saying that, and people don't. That is the last straw, right? Because you got this, oh, she's so disgusting. Starts arguing like a woman does. You can't. They make a joke and a circus out of this stuff. Look, next time you want to accuse me of crime, let's first have a congressional hearing on the matter, because we'll never get down to prosecuting the crime, right? How about I go in here, go in town here and knock off some bank? And then, you know what? Before putting me in jail, we'll have a hearing on the matter. And I'll just refuse to answer the fucking questions. And that's that. And we'll close the case, right? That's how it goes. Not for you and I. For you and I, we're arrested immediately. We'll spend time in jail until our innocence is proven. These people roam freely, never do an ounce of time in jail, and all they do is waste their freaking time with these hearings. And you listen at it. It's like a man and woman having a relationship argument. And her saying, you don't tell me, you know, you bitch, shut your mouth and answer the question. This ain't your relationship at home. You answer to the people, and we ask fucking answers. Give them. And since you don't want to, you are guilty. And that's what we don't want to see. Now, Pam Bondi is as guilty as the rest for aiding and abetting. You think God don't see it that way? People are screaming for help, right? This is what they're doing. They're bending over backwards to protect their rich and powerful friends, right? Listen, you had it's out there. People that want to ignore it, right? You got Trump on there quoted saying, a lot of my friends would get hurt over this. So fucking be it, right? You don't care about the innocent people that are being hurt, right? We're screaming and crying about, oh, this and that about the election. And Pam Bondi has a nerve when she's asked how many people was arrested. Instead of answering the question, what does she do? Oh, I'll have you know, Trump put us in such a great Dow. Dow is going through the roof, and about the stock market. Who gives a shit? Right? That's not the question. Okay? The stock market don't fucking matter. Let it crash if it has to. It is going to anyways, if anyone wants to take a look and see the signs, right? But you're telling me you're going to ignore hideous crimes, disgusting crimes, far worse than they're painting the picture. We're going to ignore that shit because, oh, the stock market's doing okay, as if Trump's the one in charge of that, right? He's not. Federal Reserve operates on its own. But we're going to sit here and play these games and let them play us off as a joke, right? Spit in our faces is what they're doing. This is unacceptable. Pam Bondi needs to be relieved of duty immediately and sitting in jail because she knows the names and she's protecting them. Sadly, I'd like to believe it was some kind of hoax, but it's not. There's just too much there in the way they're acting about it. They are trying to shut it down. And yeah, we could say, oh, well, if it wasn't a hoax, they would use this to hang Trump. Well, that's not true, because Trump would also use it the other way around. They're all involved in it. Okay, and it's not just Epstein is just some, okay, Trump ran his own circle. That's how him and Epstein crossed paths. They're buddies because they were into the same business. And that's far more than just trafficking some children. It's far more than some old perverts having their way with 17, 18-year-old girls, which is bad enough, okay? Bad and unacceptable to begin with. But it's far worse than that. Far, far worse. And you got our government playing this charade, this freaking game with these hearings. And it's all a freaking game, right? All these supposed Christian members of government that want to sit there and look the other way and play along in this charade, they know what's going on, okay? Nothing's going to be done about it. What they're doing is that's how evil works. These people are possessed by demons. That's what I was trying to get way earlier in the video, right? They're possessed by demons. They don't see that they're wrong. As long as they continue to be in control, they will continue to do these things. Nothing is going to be done about it because they're all involved in it. All of them. And the ones that want to claim they're not, when they want to look the other way or say, oh, it's time we move on from this, or, oh, they're trying to, Trump was the whistleblower. I want to tell you right now that's probably, that don't sit right with me. That was added. They had all this time sitting on these files to take things out and put things in, okay? Because I remember the story a long time ago, and I've mentioned it before in one of my videos. When Trump was asked about it on the news, out of his own mouth, his words were, yeah, I kicked him out of the club because he was over here stealing my girls. That was out of Trump's mouth. The clip is out there somewhere. I'm not sure if I showed that clip. I know I mentioned it before, right? That's word for word out of his mouth. Okay, but now suddenly, supposedly, he alerted the FBI. Now, I realize it's other members of government claiming this lie, but he did not, okay? He talked to a police officer, and at this time, that was because somebody else had called the police to report some serious shit. And to this, none of us really know what that was, what had happened, right? But the seriousness or whatever for sure, right? But what happened was somebody else called the police. The police talked to Trump, and Trump's thing was, yes, finally, thank goodness somebody's going to do something about him. He's so horrible. Of course he was. He was realizing that this guy was about to be caught, and he didn't want to be connected with it, right? He got in front of it immediately, just like the guilty do. And that's what happened there. And then the police department, whatever, that took that statement, had interviews with the FBI, and they're the ones that told the FBI about Trump. It wasn't Trump contacting the FBI and whistleblowing like they're trying to paint the picture. If you look into the actual what actually went down there, and not to say, I mean, the problem is all of us were susceptible to the shit that they're pushing out there in front of us, and it's our due diligence, sadly, to have to scrub for the truth, right? This is what we got going on. And I'm sorry for maybe the way I word some of this stuff, but it's just a fact. Pam Bondi is one of them women, right? She's one of them that will sell herself. How do you think she got to the position she's at now? If these feelings are hurt about that, she can gladly contact me and we'll do an interview with her on my channel, right? She will sell herself, therefore she will sell you, your children, right? Because what's good for the American people is not what's on her mind. What's good for her wallet is what's on her mind. What's good for her people, her club that she belongs to. And these are the people she are protecting are the people that make that possible. And without them, she would have nothing. Right? She wouldn't have this position. She wouldn't be able to have it. Right? They gave it to her because they used to use her. And since she was a good girl and was patient, they gave her a spot where she could be useful to help them. That's my take on it. She's disgusting, just the way she answered all this stuff. And my thing is, why are all of us not up in arms? Clearly, this should prove, without a doubt, that it's no longer a Republican and Democrat issue. And once we could get people from both sides to admit, first and foremost, what is right and what is wrong, and we agree on that, then we come together and clean house. But they got us too divided, right? And because they got both sides wrapped up in this nasty, disgusting stuff, nothing's ever going to be done about it. Because you and I are going to continue acting like we're powerless to do anything about it. So what's the answer? Well, don't take part in this fake ass shit, right? posting fake ass pictures of yourself, using the social media accounts that are empowering them. Stop paying your taxes. But it's just sickening, and there's no way, and I mean, almost everybody I know agrees that this charade with Pam Bondi, the way she was answering this shit, is just sickening and disgusting. And the fact that any of these people will sit up there and act like it's because they're guilty, and they think they've done nothing wrong. They are possessed by the demons of old. Because there's way more shit that we don't want to realize. A lot of DNA shit's going on, genetically modifying, trying to combine humans with animals. This is all true and proven, right? Over there on Plum Island, half these, this is where the Lyme disease came from. And they've had weird animals wash up, weird animals that don't exist, wash up on American beaches because they came from Plum Island, and they were weird mixes of this animal with that animal and this and that, because this is what these freaks have been doing. They're trying to resurrect the Nephilim because they are possessed by demons. And we don't want to see that. Oh, well, they're a nice guy. They're our friend. No, they're not. No, they're not. I assure you. If you were spending a night alone with any of them, they would have you for dinner. You know, so I guess the real question is, what happened to us? All of us, right? We can see it happening. Try to protect all the people around you, right? So they don't get swallowed up in this and become just like everyone's starting to become. That they don't become monsters. That they don't become possessed, right? Become a part of this disgusting cesspool that's taken over. You know, where's the breaking point? Where's the point where we say, all of us finally say, I mean, the majority are. It's just not enough for some reason. And I get it. It's so unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. People just don't want to believe it, right? And you got the people choosing party sides, and I'm not cutting it down, whatever, that's your choice, right? But because we don't want to believe that they are so wicked, we'll sit here and even reason with our own selves or listen to their propaganda so that it drowns it out, right? So it ain't so bad. If you watch through the history of this, they fight so hard for the accused, right? And we find out later after the files are released that these accused are very well indeed deserve to be accused, right? But you got all your politicians fighting so hard. What about these people we're accusing for no reason and all, without knowing, and all this and that? No one's fighting for the victims. Not just the victims they bring up there and say these are victims, raise your hands, right? How about the people that the names you don't know, right? The things you don't know, right? They're not just the children that were sold into activities and still lived. What about the ones that didn't live, right? What about missing persons that are children and adults? What about this genetic modifying stuff? All this stuff. Where do we stop and actually stand up against it? Who is truly fighting for the innocent? We're the loud voices for the innocent. You hear these people screaming and yelling to protect the guilty. The innocent have no voice. We can't do this. We can't. This has to be the last straw. It just does. And God's going to see to it that it is. So you need to choose your side now. Trust me on that. Because it's clear that they are going to turn the other cheek, turn the other way, and allow this to go on. And sadly, this is the times we are in now. So, like you see in my intro there, you should be freaking out about all the people around you. Anyone you don't know for sure what kind of people they are. Just let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think on all this? Do you think it's a hoax? What do you think needs to be done about it? Do you think they're all guilty? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Whiskey and I, we appreciate it very much. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep all of his commandments, for that is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.